All right, friends, here it is, the last chapter of Turtle in Paradise. Chapter 18, Paradise Found. Something's been bothering me about little orphan Annie. After she was adopted by Daddy Warbrooks and went to live in this mansion, did she ever miss the orphanage? Late at night, when she was lying in her soft new bed, did she ever think about the orphans she left behind? I'm starting to feel like little orphan Annie. I've got my very own fancy room next to Mama and Archie's in the Key West Colonial Hotel on Duval Street. The sheets are crisp and the pillows are plump. It's probably the nicest bed I've ever slept in. But that's just the problem. I can't sleep. I keep thinking about Aunt Minnie and Uncle Vernon and Nana Philly and Miss Bea and the Diaper Gang and Slowpoke and Johnny Cakes and Mrs. Soldano and even Too Bad, who turned out not to be so bad after all. Seems to me like he should get a new nickname. At breakfast, Archie asks, "You ladies all packed?" "Yes, indeed," Mama says. "Aren't we going to say goodbye to Aunt Minnie and Uncle Vernon?" I ask Mama. "Of course," she says. Archie nods in agreement. "I'll check out of the hotel and arrange to get the luggage over to the docks. I'll meet you at your sister's place at noon. That should leave plenty of time to say your goodbyes and for us to make our boat." "That sounds perfect," Mama says. "Don't forget to stop at the bank, Mr. Meeks." He tips his hat. "As if I would forget Mrs. Meeks," he says, and she giggles. After he's gone, Mama turns to me and gives herself a little shake. "Isn't this like a dream come true?" she asks. "I feel like Cinderella." "She scrubbed floors too," I say, and swallow. "Mama, can I ask you something?" "Of course, baby," she says. "How well did you know Slowpoke?" Her smile doesn't falter, but her voice trembles a little. "Not very well at all, as it turned out," she says, "and that's when I know. I know that my father doesn't have 3 eyes and isn't a murderer unless you count sponges. He's kind, and he likes the funny pages, just like his daughter." "Enough about that," Mama says briskly and stands up. "We better hurry along and say goodbye to Minnie. I wish we'd been able to stay for a longer visit, but Archie is anxious to start our new life together. I want to say goodbye to Smoky. She's at Nana Philly's," I say. "You should see her before we go." Mama takes a deep breath and looks down. "My grandmother, I mean," I say. "She said I wasn't her daughter anymore," Mama says. "She said that I was a disgrace." "Oh, Mama," I say. "I'm sure that's not the meanest thing she's ever said." Nana Philly looks just the same as when I first saw her. She's sitting in the chair wearing her long white nightgown, the silly red cloche hat on her head. Except now she's reading a new fashion magazine that I brought her, and Smoky's sitting on her lap, content as can be. "I've come to say goodbye," I say. "We're going to Georgia." She looks up from the magazine. "Maybe you can come visit sometime. I bet there's lots of kids you can be mean to there." The corner of her mouth curls up. "Take care of Smoky for me," I say, and hug her tiny body. She's just a bag of bones. I'm gonna miss our lunches. Her shaky hand smooths my hair. "Me too," she says. "There's someone else who wants to say goodbye," I say, and turn to the doorway. "Come in, Mama." Mama steps into view. Nana Philly looks startled. "Mother," she says in a stiff voice. Nobody moves for a moment. Tears start falling from my grandmother's eyes. And then Mama starts crying too. The next thing I know, Mama's on her knees in front of Nana Philly, and they're hugging each other like nothing ever happened. A Hollywood writer couldn't have imagined a sappier scene. I sit on the porch with Beans, Kermit, Buddy, and Ira. Mama's in the kitchen with Aunt Minnie and Uncle Vernon. Her happy laugh floats out the open window. "Will you play marbles with me, Turtle?" Buddy asks. "I don't have time, Buddy. We're leaving any minute." "You think you'll come back and visit?" Kermit asks. Beans smacks Kermit. "Don't give her any ideas. I just got my room back." Porkchop comes riding down the lane on his new bicycle. "What are you doing here?" he asks me. I'm not gonna miss you either, I say. No, he says, narrowing his eyes. I mean, what are you doing here? I saw your new daddy leave. What? I say. Dark hair, Panama hat. I saw him get on a boat a few hours ago. I figured you were with him. The blood rushes in my ears, and I feel like I'm going to be sick. Buddy inches away from me. Are you gonna puke, Turtle? Archie's words ring in my head. Princess, everybody's got a dream. And I know it's true. I've been had. Archie sold me a dream. Mama happy, a home, a family at last. And I bought it, hook, line, and sinker. Turns out I'm as much of a sucker as anybody. Do you know where the boat was headed? Kermit asks Porkchop, but he shakes his head. Easy enough to find out, Ira says. I pull the $5 bill out of my pocket and stare at it. Then I crumple it. I need to know where he went, I say, and look in Beans' eyes. I was wrong. They're not the color of snot. They're the color of alligator pear. Beans sets his cap low and nods grimly. Leave it to us, he says. Mama and Aunt Minnie and Uncle Vernon are laughing over sweet tea in the kitchen when I walk in with the boys an hour later. Mama, I say. She looks up at me, her eyes sparkling. Archie outside? Now I know why those men jumped off roofs. They couldn't bear to see the light go out of a loved one's eyes, to know they'd let the person down. Archie's not coming, Mama. What? She asks, still smiling. I look across the table at Aunt Minnie. She knows at once what I'm saying. Oh, Sadie Belle, she murmurs. I don't understand, Mama asks anxiously. Did something happen to him? He's gone, Mama, I say. Archie's dead? Mama screeches. Well, Mammy always says that Cuba is her idea of heaven, Porkchop says. Cuba? What are you talking about? She asks, bewildered. Uncle Vernon sighs and looks down. Aunt Sadie, he took Turtle's part of the treasure and hopped on a boat to Cuba, Beans blurts out. He's a no-good crook. Mama turns so pale, I think she's going to faint. No, she whispers, staring past us like we're not even there. Please, Mama, I say, and I get that same feeling I get right before everything falls apart. I don't believe you, she shouts at everyone, and then she's gone, running out the front door. I leap up and chase after her. She's halfway down the lane when I catch up. Mama, stop, I plead, grabbing her skirt. She whirls around, her face anguished, and collapses right in the middle of the muddy lane, tears running down her face. But he promised! He promised he'd take care of us, she says, sobbing like she's dying. I feel her hurt like my own. It's the worst feeling ever. Uncle Vernon was right. I do have a soft underbelly. It's Mama. Everything will be fine, I tell her, but I'm lying. There's never going to be a happy ending for us. And I feel a horrible pain in my chest, and I know it's my heart ripping open like a pair of Buddy's pants. And I can't help it. I start crying. I cry for everything. For poor Smokey getting burned up by those boys. For every mean word some kid said to me. For all the times one of Mama's fellas raised our hopes and dashed them. Most of all, I cry for my dumb heart, for secretly believing that Mama and Archie and me could be a real family. The tears rain down like spitballs, and there's no stopping them now. They're like a hurricane sweeping me away. Mama's drowning, and she's dragging me under with her. And this time, there's no one to rescue me. This time, I'm not going to make it. Turtle, Bean says. I blink away my tears to see him standing there with the rest of the boys, Aunt Minnie and Uncle Vernon behind them. Beans elbows Porkchop in the ribs. Say, you want to be in the diaper gang? Porkchop asks me, looking uncomfortable. I don't like babies, I choke out. What about paper dolls? Aunt Minnie asks, stepping forward. I have some nice ones. But they're your dolls, I say. They belong to the family, my aunt says in a gruff voice. So you're going to have to stay here if you want to play with them. Your mother, too. I look back at the little conch house. It will never be the Bellwood, with its modern, attractive exterior and Viennese mirrored cabinet, but it doesn't seem quite so small or shabby to me anymore. I can see past the rickety porch and the tin roof and know it's built just like its people, to sway in a storm and not break. Aw, just say you'll stay, Turtle, Kermit says, and my heart swells like a sponge. Maybe the real treasure has been right here on Curry Lane the whole time. People who love Mama and me. A home. Mama looks up, her eyes cloudy, but mine are clear. All right, I answer for us both. It may not be a Hollywood ending, but then I'm no Shirley Temple. Does that mean you'll play marbles with me now? Buddy asks, and then Beans makes a face at me. Besides, you already got a dumb nickname like everyone else around here. Beans, Aunt Minnie barks. But all I do is smile. I've lived long enough to learn the truth. Not all kids are rotten, and there are grown-ups who are as sweet as Necco wafers. And if you're lucky as an orphan, some of them may even end up being your family.